Hey, good afternoon. This is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about something that was real important today, something that I think everybody needs to be aware of. If you've been living in America or you've been living pretty much your whole life here or in other countries, there's one or two things that we all have in common. Those two things are real simple. We're going to have to deal with death and we're going to have to pay some taxes. Those are the only two things that are for certain that everybody, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're middle class or whether you are on a rock or whether you live in the city or you live in the country, you're going to deal with death and taxes. And what I'm going to talk to you for the next few minutes about is I'm going to talk to you about life insurance, or as I like to call it, income replacement. See, it provides protection for those two things. When you die and when you're left all your assets to someone else and now you got to pay taxes on it. That is called estate planning. Gross estate, probate. Probate is the transfer of property. Gross estate is everything you own. Listen, people, unless you die naked in the streets with nothing on but what you came into the world with, you have a gross estate. Now, whether it's titled correctly is truly up to you. Whether you have a will or whether you have a trust, you need to understand the dime theory. Now, what is the dime? The dime is this. I'm going to dime you out right now. The D in dime stands for death and debt. It covers the final expenses, the things that you need to pay off, and the replacement of lost income. Now, what we really are talking about here is the average funeral is anywhere from 10,000 to 15,000 if you don't go overboard, okay? Now, having a family that owns a funeral home, I see firsthand or have seen firsthand where people want to give their spouse or their loved one or their significant other or their children the best homegoing service. However, they have no insurance. So they do a GoFundMe page, or they ask members of the church to help pay for the funeral, or they go to the mortician or the funeral director and say, hey, can I pay you over time? Wrong answer, people. Get some life insurance. It also stands for debt. Now, for most of you, when you die, your debt will die unless you were a joint owner of some debt with some people, i.e. your spouse, your children, a business partner. These are the things that you need to think about with the D's in your life, okay? Now, income. I always tell people this. If you're a mom or a father and you have young children, you want to have 10 times your income, your gross income, as far as a salary to replace your income. Now, let's use the example. You, mommy and daddy, or in your 30s, you have three young ones. Maybe they are 7, 5, and 3. You have at least 15 years before the youngest child, we subtract 18 minus 3, 15 years from the youngest child going to school that you would be responsible for. So if you make $100,000 a year or 50,000, we'll say 100 for simplistic purposes, you need $1 million worth of coverage. Whether it's term, universal life, whether it's whole life, whether it's a mixture, outside of what's at work, because most policies at work are not transferable. That is the income. So at least 10 times your income. Now, the M stands for mortgage. Mortgage in Latin means to the death. Remember, I told you can't escape death, right? Death and taxes. Unless the rapture comes, God calls you up and you don't die, right? You just get judged. I don't know what your beliefs are, but you have a mortgage, you have rent, you need to be able to pay for that child and your spouse or that loved one or the person that would take care of your children for at least 15 years. So we have the mortgage. So let's say that you have a mortgage, you have a modest house. Let's say it's a $500,000 house. Maybe it's 200,000. Maybe it's 100,000. Maybe it's no 100,000. Maybe it's rent. I don't know. The point I'm making is you need to have enough based off of the dime theory that would take care of someone taking care of your spouse, or your spouse taking care of your children, or being left behind to make sure that your loved ones are able to maintain without you. In other words, you've replaced your income. That's why it's called income replacement. It's not known as life insurance, because most of you have sick thought in your head that I'm not going to leave no money for my spouse for her to go get married to somebody else. Well, maybe you need to start eating right, drink less, and maybe you need to start praying a little more. Don't worry about what you leave behind. Take care of your responsibilities. Ha! The next thing is education. Now, remember, you had 3 children. We said there were 7, 5, and 3, right? Well, we know that a college education. Now, first of all, let me back up. I mean this humbly. All people don't have to go to college to be successful. Matter of fact, most people that go to college are not successful. It is usually the C and D students that start a company that have the A and B students work for them. So we're going to clear that up. So if you think that your child is going to be the next brain surgeon, or, litigation attorney, or some type of skill set that they have to have a degree, maybe having the education set aside for them, maybe you're paying a quarter of their education, maybe you're paying 50% of their education, maybe you're paying a third of their education, or maybe you're going to pay all of their education. You need to plan accordingly. You need to get with your financial professional, financial first responder, financial planner, and figure out how much it would cost for your child to go to a state or private school. Now, I say all this to say that you got to use the dime theory, people. You have to understand that if you have 3 little ones, and we call them little ones, we don't call them kids because you don't have baby goats, you got little ones. If you want them to go to school and you're going to pay for them the whole way through, let's assume, and I can tell you from experience, because I got 2 in college right now, and every semester is probably 30 to 40 grand. Ha! If you don't put this money away, you will either borrow it or you're going to spend it, or you're going to leverage your own retirement or your house to get your child through school. Start early, start now, right? Get involved with someone that can help you set up an UGMA account, Uniform Gift and Minors Act, UTMA account, Uniform Trust and Minors Act, a 529 plan, a basic education plan, state plan, something. Do something. Don't do nothing, right? Here we go. See, the dime may be small in your eyes. I'll show you a dime here. It may be small in your eyes. But what it stands for is death and debt, income, mortgage or rent, and education. See, the dime theory ensures that your family has enough for everything they need, no matter what happens or what life brings you. Now, while I'm on this point, I like to say that there's another D in there that we didn't cover, that just in case you don't die, you might need some disability insurance. Because what if you're disabled and can't work? What if that stops your family? See, that's part of that dime theory, right? So my goal here is I want to protect you from the death and taxes. I want to also protect you in case you get disabled. See, when your loved ones pass away, their estate may be reduced by the taxes. The life insurance can provide tax-free, untaxed money to help cover your final expenses, any outstanding debt, income replacement, your home, meaning a mortgage or rent, for some of y'all that'll never buy a house, education costs, and then any other thing that taxes might be due. See, I want you to be prepared today. I want you to protect your family for tomorrow. And I want you to think about every time you hold a dime in your hand, I want you to think about Mike Barnes, the financial first responder, told you you need to focus on death and taxes and understand the dime theory. Now, I'm not diming anybody out, but if you or a person that has not bought life insurance or income replacement insurance or disability insurance, and you don't have 10 times your income set aside in the event something should happen to you, because it will. It's not a matter of will it happen, it's going when it's going to happen. And you want to make sure that your loved ones have a roof over their head, and your children, if they decide to go to college or become a plumber or electrician or a carpenter or an auto mechanic or whatever it is, fly a plane, you want to make sure you want to help them be able to get to that status or that job that they want. You need to put some things in place. Look, I've been talking to you about the dime theory. I hope what I said to you made sense. I only used one slide because I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. Because I know some of you, you've been scrolling through YouTube, through Facebook, through Instagram, through TikTok, and you can't stay focused to save your life. Sounds like me. I digress. My point is, focus on the dime. Get yourself in financial order. Look, I'm going to leave some stuff in the bio, some stuff in the link. If you don't have insurance, we've partnered with Ethos. If you want to sit down and talk to me about the financial positioning system, we can do that. If you want to talk to me about trust and wills, I have attorneys that we can set that up. The main thing is do it now. Look, this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. Please like and subscribe my channel, and I look forward to talking to you. God bless.